All right, welcome to the Couch Live here on Rock100DIZ.com and, of course, HolisticLifestylesRadio.com and WWNN 1470 out of Pompano Beach. This is the YouTube segment for the Couch Live. I am the street-certified Dr. Louis Delgado here with, of course, a new guy today.
Yeah.
Right? Aaron Moore, licensed mental health counselor, is sitting in for Dr. Ken Hoffman, who's taking a sabbatical. That's right. You've been here before. I'm sorry. So Aaron Moore from Solace Counseling. And, of course, Denise McLean. I can't say that word. Denise McLean Solis, of course, our co-host. How you doing, Denise?
Doing good.
All right. So we brought Aaron on. Aaron's also an advisor and a speaker for To Write Love on Our Arms. If you've heard about To Write Love on Our Arms, Aaron does a lot of things with that. You do a lot of speaking engagements with that.
Yep.
And I wanted to speak about a specific thing. All right, I've been talking to somebody on intherooms.com, and I've already discussed it with you. So we kind of went through it. She knows that we're talking about it. We're going to call her Jay. Jay had some issues going on, and I've already discussed it with you, so we don't have to go through all the issues all over again. But there were some major points that you wanted to talk about in regards to what she's going through.
Yeah, I think...
so talk directly to her, because I did tell her we're going to be talking about this, and I told her you would help share some things.
Do you want to give like a 2-minute little background real quick?
Well, a real background is she's a young girl, history of self-injury, feels that nobody where she lives is understanding, can understand her, can relate to her, can help her, feels kind of hopeless right now, but she is reaching out. Obviously, she's in the room, so she's reaching out a little bit. The last person she reached out to, she feels opened up and told somebody because he felt that she was at risk. So he told her family. She got in trouble for it. Family's fighting. Family doesn't really get along. This is 4 years in the making. Drug use, self-injury, and eating disorders. And she has 19 pounds to lose to meet her weight that she wants, which is 100 pounds, and she's only 5'4". So a lot of things going on there. So my main concern is that she's feeling like nobody can help her, and she's not really sure she wants it. But I'm getting the hint she does, because why would she have told me? So I'm hoping you can speak to her and help her out on here somehow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot of info I just get. So you told me to do 2 minutes, and that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
That's a lot of
I should have
stuff.
just kept my mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff, and those are a lot of hard issues, especially when you start talking about addiction, self-injury,
Yes.
Struggling with, things like disordered eating. Those are just those are intense issues, and they're difficult issues. They're hard things to begin to talk about with anybody.
Well, one thing is she's feeling shame that her family is fighting because of her. That's where apparently that's where some of the issues started. The family was fighting 4 years ago. She's 13 years old 4 years ago, and started hurting herself back then. Now she feels like the family is fighting because of her, because now she has, she's done some things, some legal things, and had issues with that.
Yeah, which just adds to everything, and I hate. I think I said this last time I was on here, but I think one of the things that I hate the most in the world is just that sense of shame that says, oh my gosh, man, there's something wrong with me.
That's right.
That I'm causing these problems in my family or whatever. And I think one of the things that I tell people that I don't know if it's true in this case, but I wonder at times we often think that we're the cause of things. That people are, our families and our loved ones are fighting because of us. When in reality we might be the subject of fights and the subject of arguments because we're in the family and that's what's going on. But our family members are responsible to deal with stuff in their own healthy ways. So I think there's a difference between being the subject of an argument and our families arguing because of us, where we kind of take that burden and that responsibility on ourselves because they're adults. Their responsibility is on them to deal with things in a healthy way. And for us, I think, and maybe for her, my hope would be that she kind of be able to see that they
You
have
can talk
their
to
own
her.
responsibility.
I'm telling you, she's watching this. You can say, "Hey Jay, you're not alone, right?
Yeah,
the old standards."
Yeah, Jay, that is really what.
See, I'm putting this guy on YouTube. He's not used to me just putting the camera on him.
I'm not even. It doesn't even feel like a camera. No, I think Jay, my hope would be is that you'd be able to see that they might be they might sound like they're fighting about you, but that's not your fault. That's not your responsibility to make everything okay in that. Like your responsibility would be to figure out what you need to take care of yourself. What you need to care for yourself, and especially, I think as a young adult, our hope is, when we become young adults, that we kind of have to take our recovery into our own hands and take responsibility for seeking out what we need, especially if our families aren't doing a great job at helping us find it. Then, maybe you're going to need to seek out counselors and people who can walk through it with you on your own. I think one of the things that Louie and I were talking about in terms of his conversation with you is just that feeling that often it's really difficult to feel like we can find people who get it and find people who understand. And when we do find those people, it often is amazing when we find somebody, whether it's somebody online in a site like in the rooms, or whether we find somebody, we talk to people when we go and speak with Right Love and experience the same thing. And we find people who speak the language that's kind of going on in our own hearts, the feelings of shame and those feelings like, man, it's so difficult to find. People who I feel like if I tell them what I'm struggling with, they're not going to run screaming out the door.
Yeah.
You find people that are like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. What's wrong with you? You find people who feel like they get it, and they'll sit with you, and that's so huge.
And that's what makes it popular, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what has drawn hundreds of thousands of people to Red Love on Our Arms, because there's a lot of stories of Jay. There's a lot of people out there like Jay and that's why I wanted to do this, because she's not alone. There's a lot of people with your story, Jay, that feel like, who am I going to go talk to?
Yeah.
Who's going to understand this? And if I do share it, what are they going to do with the information?
Yeah.
Because how can I trust that it's not going to get worse? Which sometimes it is. I mean, it's hard to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm hurting myself, and then not have them respond.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are legally, responsible to respond.
Yeah, which sometimes, and that's the case. The alternative's worse though, and that's the big piece. The alternative is that we struggle alone and in silence by ourselves, and to the point where then our struggles get harder and harder and harder to recover from and to get out of. The longer that we do it by ourselves, the longer that we try and work through self-injury and eating disorders and depression and addiction on our own, the harder it is going to be to eventually reach out and get help and work through it. And honestly, one of the things I was telling you is, like you're a neat guy. We talk about addiction.
Oh, thank you.
You're a neat guy.
Yeah, thank you.
But
I'm neato.
But you're not unique in that sense. Like,
not in that sense.
Not in that sense. There's other ways. But I think often we're the ones that have these conversations with people, and I'm guilty of it too, and thinking, oh my gosh, somebody finally gets it, and nobody's going to get it like they get it, because nobody else understands it. And in reality, I think there's hundreds of thousands of people that get it. There's so many people out there that get it and can understand. But the problem is that we never talk about it. I think, Jay, that's one of the things I would hope for you is that I know it's so hard to kind of push through and reach out and find a counselor, find a support group, find somebody that you can kind of take that deep breath and go, okay, here it is, what's going on. But there are people who will get it and who will understand. And I think we all know that feeling of, no, they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand. It doesn't work that way. They don't know me. They don't know my story. But they know their own stories, and they know the hard stuff they've walked through.
Exactly. And Denise, I know you're dying to say something.
No, I'm listening to this, and just thinking from a parental perspective.
There you go. Tell it from there.
Okay, here's a parental perspective that, as a mother, I believe all children, all human beings, have a beautiful soul and are beautiful creatures, and you have love inside you. You just have to find the help to help you find the love. Nice. And they're, especially children. My heart goes out to any child that goes through stuff like this. My own son went through this, so I can definitely relate to that. He felt at a young age when I divorced his father that he was the cause. And then his father decided that he really didn't want to see him too much, so then that just solidified that for him, that, well, he doesn't want to see me, so it must have been my fault that you got divorced. Why does my... To this day, he struggles with that. And he really doesn't have a relationship with his father, but that's his issue that he's going to deal with as he goes through life, and when he has his own children, I think will come to realize some things about being a father, and hence, do I need this person in my life or not, or whatever. But as a parent, you do, Jay, have love, you have strength, you have a light inside of you that you need to seek out and find, and with the proper help, and you've started that. You've taken that first baby step. Continue to take those steps. Continue to take those steps and make yourself better and reach the goals you want to reach.
Awesome. And you know what? Not all parents are going to get this, Jay. I mean, it's hard for them. It sounds like they already had issues prior to this, and of course, then once this comes out, they're not capable of handling it without the help. So I hope they get help also. But for right now, like you did, you're reaching out. You're finding a way to get the help. We talked about a few ways to find help, and I hope you continue to do so. But anyway, I promised you we were going to talk about this. So anyone else with these kind of situations, hopefully they, your story helped them also. So from all of us here, thanks for the sponsor of the YouTube segment is of course dlmsuccess.usana.com. That's dlmsuccess.usana.com. Thanks, of course, to rock100diz.com, holisticlifestylesradio.com, and WWNN 1470 AM out of Pompano Beach. We'll be back on the couch live right after this.